Hi, I'm Reynolds with Allie's Organics, and I want to show you how to grow some of your best fresh homegrown tomatoes. Pick out the type of tomato bush that you want. This one here is a yellow pear, produces really good, and we want to have really good prepped soil. So if you haven't already prepped your soil and it doesn't have good drainage, you want to make sure you have good drainage, and you can add perlite or vermiculite to your soil along with peat moss and lots of compost. And I've already added all of that into this soil, but it never hurts to add more compost every single time you plant. And I'll just add plenty of it in here. And then just kind of work it around and dig a nice little hole for the tomato. You could also do this in a trench style, but because it's summertime, I like to go deep. We're going to remove all of the lower branches off this tomato so I can plant it deep. All of the little hairs on this are going to become roots, and so if we can put all of that into the ground and form more roots, we're going to have a healthier tomato plant. Once we've got that hole dug, we want to add a couple of tablespoons of all-purpose fertilizer. Look for just something that's all-purpose. It's the easiest way to go, where the second number is the highest. This is called a well-balanced fertilizer. It has your nitrogen, phosphorus, and your potash. Then, to really give them a good jump start, add a little bit of mycorrhiza to it. Mycorrhiza is a good beneficial fungus and bacteria, which is good for the plant. We only need about a half to a quarter of a teaspoon of this, and sprinkle that in there and work that into your soil. Okay, we want to make sure that we water this tomato an hour or so before we plant it. And a good thing to do is just to add some kelp meal tea to it, which is just simply adding some kelp meal into some water, letting it steep overnight, and then watering it in. It helps with the shock of the plant. And it also helps it remove from the pot itself a little bit easier. So we're going to just carefully take it out of its pot. And we don't need to remove any of, or work any of these roots, because these are all going to be roots. We're not going to worry about causing any more stress. Go ahead and put that soil right up against the root of it. And if you want to, you can even add a little bit more compost up to it. This helps keep the soil moist, and it helps keep it cool. Watered in really well. And you want to fertilize this about every 3 weeks, simply by just making a little trench around the base of the tomato, taking some of your all-purpose fertilizer. You want to do this every 3 weeks. Sprinkle it around, cover it up, water it in. Keep the soil moist. Don't let it dry out too much, and don't let your water fluctuate where it dries out and then you give it a lot of water. So you want to be really careful not to overwater, underwater. Just keep it nice and evenly moist for that tomato. And as it grows, you're going to want to put a trellis over it, or a cage over it, or a stick to hold it up, some sort of a stake, and tie it with some vinyl twine. That seems to work the best, and it's the best on the tomato plant itself. So there, before too long, you're going to have fresh homegrown tomatoes.